Oh my god. Hi. Hi everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good schmorning. The reason I look zooted is because I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to get ready for this because I fell asleep last night early because I've got shit to do today. But I said no, I'm gonna stream the chapter on the day the chapter is released. Yes? So I'm here just for you. Just for all of you. And also because I want to read One Piece. The reason I haven't thank you for the subs, everyone. Goodness, thank you. The reason I haven't been around for a few days is because Goofy, Mugiwara no Goofy, my fellow One Piece content creator, was in Australia, because I live in Australia. That's where I live, right? And he came over here with all his friends, and I can tell you right now that man is a 365 party girl. We partied, and it killed me. It was fun. I've met some awesome people, right? I met some real awesome people over the past few days, but dear God, dear God, can they party? Because he brought all his buddies, right? All of them were down in Australia, and I met some incredible people, but I cannot keep up with that kind of partying. I had to recuperate for the last 2 days after he left, so Jesus Christ, I am not a 365 party girl. Oh no, he's older than me. It was good fun, but I could not do that back to back. I just could not do that. I've never been like a 365 party girl. Guys, I'm a little bit of a inside person. It was really fun though. It was real good fun. There's not gonna be any content from that because him and his friends were just, thank you very much, Dragon. I appreciate it. There's not going to be any content from that because he was only here for, vacation, for fun, and I wasn't planning to make any kind of content with him when he came down. So I'm sorry if you guys thought there was going to be, but I don't want to make like seeing my friends like I don't want to monetize seeing my friends all the time. Do you know what I mean? So I decided no content. I'm just gonna meet him and his buddies, and then we're all gonna go out and have fun. And that's exactly what we did, even if it did probably kill me. Anyway, sorry, I forgot to open one part here. If someone ends up tipping and I get a message and I don't hear it. I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Opinion on Sanji's animation in the episode today. I think it's getting a bit left to the wayside, unfortunately. First of all, I haven't watched the anime in a while because I haven't had the time. Second of all, I'm not surprised. It's like an ongoing meme. It's an ongoing joke that the animators have a huge fucking hard-on for Luffy and Zoro, as they would, right? I guess, because they're the two most popular characters, and then the other characters kind of get left in the dirt. Right? It's happened constantly. Toa hates Sanji. I mean, they've just done it before, so it's like I'm really not surprised. What did they leave out that one time? Oh fuck, they left him out of a group shot. I'll never forget that one, and I'll never forget the way people tried to justify that by going, oh well, he got a solo shot and he was moving, and it's like, if he was moving you could just make him go whoop in the background. Like what's wrong with adding him there in the background? And everyone also got a solo shot after that, not just Sanji. So Sanji was left out of the group shot and then got less than everyone else, and it's like, why? I just did not understand that one. The egghead one, that was fucking crazy. That was insane. They added him back later. Crash, I don't think they did. Because that's what some people said, but what they meant was he got a individual shot after the group shot. But everyone got an individual shot after the group shot, not just Sanji. So everyone got the group shot and the individual shots. Sanji didn't get the group shot. Why the fuck was he not with his family? Like, it was just so bizarre. I'll never forget that, because I thought people saying that Toa didn't like Sanji or Toa were kind of meh on Sanji, I thought they were exaggerating. I thought, they're just saying shit. Then I saw that and I was like, that's pretty bad. Like, that's pretty bad. The group shots are what people love, right? And if you leave your character, because I know for a fact, if anyone's favorite Straw Hat was left out of a group shot, and it's not just me as a Sanji fan, like, if a Robin fan saw Robin got left out of a group shot, they'd fucking complain. A Frankie fan would complain. A Chopper fan would complain. Nami fans would complain. Zoro fans would complain. You would complain if your Straw Hat, your favorite Straw Hat, was left out of a group shot, right? You would. Anyone would complain about that. In fact, I think everyone should be complaining about anyone getting left out of a group shot like that, especially when it's in the manga. That was just so bizarre. Anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a rant to start off with, but you made me remember that. You made me remember that. So yeah, it's bizarre the way Toa treats Sanji. I truly don't understand. I mean, I've told you guys my theory for it. My theory for it is, well, actually, from what I know, well, my theory for it is, they're trying to make Sanji the shonen anime perv, because Sanji is not a stereotypical shonen perv. He's just not. Like, he has moments, don't get me wrong, but he's no fucking, Mineta, right? Or the teacher from Naruto. Like, he is not the stereotypical anime perv or shonen perv, and I think Toei want him to be. But he's never going to be, because that's not how Oda writes him. He's just horny at best, right? But he's not a fucking criminal. I think it's okay to be a little horny. Okay, you can quote me on that. But that's alright. Alright. Let's begin the chapter. Let's begin. Fishman Island, Sanji was also given horrible rep in the anime, by the way. The majority of issues that people have, thank you for the sub, that people have with One Piece comes from the anime. I've realized this. A lot of people, when they complain about this or this or this or this, it comes from the anime, not the manga. Like, Sanji still has moments in Fishman Island in the manga. I guarantee you it is not that bad or as bad as the anime made it look. The anime made it, like, grotesque. It was just, ugh. Anyway. Let's shut up and move on. Let's shut up and move on. Oh yeah, wanting to take photos of Nami's body was in the manga. Guys, I'm not saying Sanji is a saint. Right? But I'm also saying he's not as bad as people make him out to be. Right? Right. That's what I'm saying. God, I'm not saying he's perfect. He's not perfect. I wouldn't like him if he were perfect. Right? I wouldn't. So I like him because he's a little bit mentally ill. Okay, let's actually start. Enough of this. Who's waving at him? Sorry, I've opened the chapter. Chapter 1163, Promise. Luffy doing parkour all over town with white gibbons. There's no way that said parkour. Stephen Poole. What did that actually say? Parkour? Please. The monkeys are so cute. Oh my goodness. Who's waving at him down there? Who's down there? Just randoms, I suppose? Random peoples? They don't look like any Straw Hats. Yeah, cover story's over. Alright. I'm excited for this. Oh, that's Emu. Saint Saturn. Why do you look like that? Are those devil fruit powers nuisances? Huh? Yep, all the Marines got stabbed. Can't see Emu. Why is it attacking the Navy? Whose side is it on? Nobody's side. All units withdraw. Keep your distance. Do not attack. Secure an escape route. Oh, Roger's so attractive. Sorry. Hey, get up, guys. Ah, it hurts, but it's so fascinating. What are you talking about? Can't believe what it did to my crew. Gabon, give these guys backup. Take some treasure and split. Not again. You'd better not get yourself in trouble. Oh, yes. It's always a straw hat captain, isn't it? What's going on here? What is that monster? I don't know. Saint Saturn just started transforming before our eyes. The 5 elders, huh? Never seen them before. Looks about right for the kind of freak who'd sit atop those maggots. Vice Admiral Garp Ixnay on the Andersley. Oh, he doesn't like the Celestials, guys. He doesn't like them. Then why the fuck do you work under them? Sorry. Okay, anyway. Hey, you, King of the Bilge Rats. You're here to kill me, aren't you? So it was the Davy Jones. You got the wrong guy. I've never even met him. Oh, I see. He's calling him Davy Jones. And he's saying, no, I'm okay. So he's not the original Davy Jones. However, promises are meant to be kept, which is exactly why thy kind must be erased from history. Oh. Yeah. My world is still incomplete. It ain't your world. Look at Rox. He dares attack Saint Saturn. Should we offer help, Rear Admiral? I don't. Of course, we're helping out. Move it. Vice Admiral Garp. Wait a second. Helping out which side? So history was wrong. So they did not defend Celestials. How interesting. So far, no. Wow, it's like I guessed. The pirates are making off with the treasure. Stop them. Those are world-class valuables. Yep. It's wild out there. Ready to start hauling. Just say the word, Captain John. So long, Rocks Pirates. Oh, he's dying, is he? Yep. Because he died, right? In God Valley. Okay. And Shanks is crying. What's happening over there? I hear screaming. There, a Navy ship through the trees. They'll be able to protect the child. Oh, that's not happening, Dragon. That's not happening, Dragon. Huh? Okay, Dragon got sent flying. Come back, treasure chest. All the metal is reacting to something. It's being pulled away from us. Big Eater, come to me, my treasures. So that's kid's fruit, right? Did people guess that? Because he had an arm or something? Wait, is that not... Wait, is that not kid's fruit? It is. They did guess that. That's Captain John's magnet power. There's a powerful pull coming from the southeast entrance to the valley. I forgot about that because people were like, Mel, look at John. I was like, I don't give a fuck about John because something else was happening in the chapter. I remember that and I was like, okay, even if you did, who cares? I forgot about that. I forgot what chapter that was with his metal arm that we saw, but I just remember other things were happening. I was not paying attention to him. There's a powerful pull coming from the southeast entrance to the valley. Move it. Let them figure that out. Roger. Stupid John. Sky Snake Red Cannon. Oh, the exploding booger. I think that's a booger. Oh my god. Mr. 5 callback. Never thought I'd see the day. Captain John. Okay, well, Dragon's truly protecting the baby right now. He's not dropping it on his head like he did last time. Ganzamir, why did you shoot John? Do you really think he's going to split that treasure with us? Each of those chests is worth at least 1 billion berries. A billion? Bill? Anyone want to... Oh my god, anyone want to keep it all to himself? You can't, Vice Admiral. That's a supreme authority of the government up there. What? That vermin? Let me try 2 rocks. Damn it, Kaido. Wait right there. Oh, Kaido's really cute. I'm gonna kill you! What are you, jealous? Check this out. That's my quarry Garp. Oh, he's talking about rocks. And then Galaxy. Okay, everyone's shooting. I don't know what to do. I don't have sound effects for you. Impact, Divine Departure, Dragon, Ikoku, Sovereignty, sorry, Pandemonium, Chorkakua. That's just, I can't. You what pow, shit, what, wow, like, I don't know what to do for you. But, just react harder. Oh my god! Whoa, that's so cool! Sorry, I'm sorry. That's so cool! Oh my god! Whoa, that's so cool! Come on, you guys know why I'm here. You guys know why I'm here. The art's beautiful, by the way. The art is beautiful, by the way. But, I'm not... the... Big hit! Listen! It's cool, okay? It's cool. Dada Doom. I'm appreciating it from an artistic standpoint. I'm appreciating it from a cool standpoint. But you guys know that this is not the main reason I read One Piece. Okay? I'm sorry. If you're expecting me to jump out of my chair at that, I think you're at the wrong channel. Well, it's big. You know, they're all slicing and dicing. You will not believe what happened this chapter, but it's gorgeous though. Oh, I love Kaido's dragon form so much. Started swinging. Yeah, they're all hitting at him. Okay, anyway. Oh, the art is just incredible these chapters though. Chuck a quake on that thing. Shut up! Thank you though, dick so small I piss on my balls. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, I really like these panels for Imu. And then that's a lot of Haki. What's going on over there? Armageddon or something? Look at all the chests. Pick them up. Dahaha, Rayleigh's always got his eyes on the prize. Never forget a pirate's true calling. Oh, he's running through and say pick up the chest. Okay. I was like, who? Oh, that's Rayleigh holding Shaggy. I see. Right. So he's still running through and saying, pick them up. Okay. That's so funny. Oh my god. Oh, I love Rayleigh. Oh, he lost him. This is all insane. I need to at least save the baby. Ah! He turned into a log. What? Where'd he go? Yep. Stupid ass ugly baby crawling into a chest. Who's that with the wangs? I have no idea. Sorry, I think babies are kind of ugly. So baby with brain damage. I can't spit out what I've already eaten. That's Kaido. Give me money then. Oh, she's talking about... Okay, she's talking about the devil fruit. I can... Oh god, I really like Imu's art. I really, really like it. It's just so, like, minimalistic. I can see them running through the distant forest. My blow did the trick. No, it was mine. Hey, are you talking about... New Davies, a woman and a child. Oh, striving so very hard to live. A pestilence that must not be unleashed upon the world. Whatever you're thinking, don't do it. Moo? I will do nothing. What is this? It doesn't even hurt. Oh, he's gonna... Oh, fuck. Thou wilt end thy own bloodline. What? Slaughter thy wife and child. Are you crazy? I'm not gonna dummy reversey. Oh, that is fucking horrific. That's nearly as that's a pretty as bad as Doflamingo. That's just such a cruelty, isn't it? Because you can tell that's punishment, right? So, hang on. A few things to, so that's the end of the chapter. A few things to talk about here. So the whole historical thing of God Valley being, Dragon and Garp teamed up to fight Rox to protect the Celestials. Clearly a fucking lie. Clearly a fucking lie. It was always a lie. I always suspected it was a lie. It was obvious a lie. There's someone called Monkey D Garp in my chat. I demand an apology. You don't deserve shit. Why the fuck are you still a Marine? I talked to him like he's actually Garp. Why the fuck? How could you see that and still be a Marine? How? Like, I don't think people understand. Absolutely nothing here is helping Garp's case because he's still in the current time a Marine. Why don't people understand this? I see people saying, Garp's been redeemed, Garp's been redeemed. How has he possibly been redeemed? He's still a Marine in the current day. Unless he's literally being blackmailed or forced to still be a Marine, he is now working in a system that he knows this is the big guy on top. He's even got fellow Marines saying, no, you can't fight that guy. That's our boss, right? Imu is his boss. He's punching him, don't get me wrong. But that's still who the Marines serve under. Yes? That's why it is, so... It's interesting to see him jump forward to fight Imu. So he's punching Imu, yes? But then why the fuck is he still a Marine? If you have jumped forward to punch this guy who you're calling scum, and then you still actively work under them, why are you still there? Why? Rev agent? Garp is not smart enough for that. There's just no way he's a Rev agent. I'll eat my shoe if he's working with Dragon. Garp would have been eliminated if not for his hero title. You want to know what I think is going on? You want to know what I think is going on? God Valley needed to be covered up. What happened to Rox and Roger and blah, blah, blah needed to be talked about. Right? He does not still talk with Dragon. That's a mistranslation. The only reason people think he still talks with Dragon is because he said something in Water 7 like, oh, Dragon told me. That's not actually true. Garp says, I was told you saw your dad in Logue Town. As in, it's probably a Marine report. Smoker probably told him. Smoker straight up recognized Dragon and said, Dragon in Logue Town. So people saying that they still talk, there's the only real evidence we have for that is Luffy was given to Garp. After that, we've never seen anything about it. I talked about that on Twitter, actually, because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he said that. And then I asked Arthur about it, and Arthur said to me, he can see why they translated it like that, but he would have said someone told him. As in, Arthur thinks like me and thinks he was given a Marine report. Stephen Paul was Stephen Paul translating back in Water 7? I don't think he was. This was back in Water 7. This was years ago. I don't know when Stephen Paul took up the translation job. But if he did fan translations, did he? I see. I'm not sure. All I know is I talked to Arthur about it as well, and Arthur said it sounds more like he's saying someone told him, not Dragon told him. Like, he doesn't actually say Dragon in that sentence. He just says, I was told you saw your dad, basically. Anyway, what was I talking about? So, anyway, the thing with Dragon and Garp talking is totally ambiguous. That's totally up. Rox got Domi reversied. I don't feel like taking a victory lap there because I think most people picked that up. However, I was quite early on saying that Rox got Domied. I was quite early on saying that history was definitely twisted. And that definitely, like, what they said happened on God Valley did not happen. So my theory with Garp not being executed because of that hero title is it's similar to Alabaster, right? It's totally similar to Alabaster. Luffy and crew saved Alabaster, but Smoker needed to take the hero title, even though Smoker is quite a rough Marine, quite a rebellious Marine. Smoker needed to take the credit for the Alabaster thing, because otherwise pirates would take credit and they couldn't let that happen, right? So what I had guessed with Garp from the very fucking start is I don't actually think he really did heroic things on God Valley. I think the most he did was work with the pirates, right? And they can't say that, right? They can't say that he worked with the pirates against like Saturn or the Five Elders or Immo or shit, because what would that make things look like, right? How would that make things look? So instead, they push the story. Garp and Roger work together to protect the Celestials. Because what a beautiful piece of propaganda that is. Even the biggest pirate in the world was protecting the Celestials. Not even the biggest pirate in the world is above the Celestials. That's not fucking true. There's no way Roger ever protected the Celestials. And they need to cover this shit up, right? So what are they gonna do? They're gonna turn to Garp and say, we're giving you a hero title, and saying the Marines were the saviors of the day, basically. The Marines so good that even the pirates sided with them. That kind of shit. It's the exact same shit that happened with Smoker in Alabaster. Like, Oda has set up the, like, pieces of propaganda from the beginning, and we see how the world government operates, and we see how the Marines operates, right? We've seen this before. And I've been saying this ever since Sengoku said that shit. Ever since Sengoku said Garp doesn't want to talk about God Valley because blah blah blah, and he gave us that fucking phony baloney story, I was like, there's no fucking way that's true. There's just no way that that is true. I never believed that, and I remember so many people would come to me and say, but, and I'd say to them, I'm betting you that's not true. I was saying this years ago, and now that it's happening in front of me, I feel vindicated. I feel so vindicated because I keep telling you guys, One Piece is about the effects of propaganda. It's about how you fall for it, right? Which is why it's incredible to see people reading this story, and within the story, they fall for the lies. Like, in the story, they've fallen for it. They've fallen for Rox being a horrible, terrible guy. They used to fall for Roger being a horrible, terrible guy, by the way. Before Roger was revealed to just be a guy, people were genuinely believing, oh, he was really just the worst pirate ever, right? They fall for Duffy being a loving man with a loving family. That one's more so my beef. But oh, Robin as well. The amount of people that fell for Robin being like a traitor. I know there was so many theories back in the day of Robin betraying the crew. Like that kind of shit. Law as well. There was the belief that Law was going to betray the crew, although that was less propaganda and more just people going, pirates are pirates, you know what I mean? But that in itself is propaganda, because the push of all pirates just so dastardly and evil, that's world government marine powered shit all the time, right? I'm not saying pirates like that. I'm not saying there are some pirates that aren't bad, you know? But I'm also saying that there's definitely not this insane amount of bad pirates as people say there are. Especially in like correlation to Marines and the world government abusing power to such horrendous extents. Oh, the world fell for Ohara being a horrible place full of horrible people, but I don't think the audience fell for that. But Kuma, they fell for Kuma being a tyrant. They did. People did believe that. Look, I was talking about this before. People were saying to God, get out of my chat. Leave me the fuck alone. Oh my god, this bum. Sorry. Anyway, people were the role players in my chat are actually working on me. Can you believe this? People were saying to me, right? I just got that in that someone just said it. Rox destroyed like 3 islands. He definitely isn't a nice guy. I need you to think about that. Because not only were we only told that by that narrator who said Harold took out an innocent warship. Remember, that was the exact same chapter that we were told Harold took out an innocent warship. Meaning, even what we're being told by the narrator sometimes is just a lie. As in, like, it's being filtered through. Think about how Luffy would be perceived historically. They would say, the Marines and the world government would say Luffy has been taking out islands, right? That's Morgan's, not the narrator. Well, there you go. So it's even less of a reason to believe it, right? So they, like the... Sorry, 1163 gave us the drums of magnetism, the damned one. Mad lad will return. What the fuck are you talking about? Hang on, someone said when Luffy questions he has a dad, Garp says, what, he didn't tell you? He said he saw you off at Logtown. That's the mistranslation. That's not what Garp said. At least that's when I talked to Arthur. Arthur said that's not what he said. That's where Garp said, I was told he saw you off at Logtown. Like, we just talked about this. Anyway, again, what was I talking about? You made me lose my my point. Oh, think about the way Luffy would be perceived in world history in One Piece. They would say Luffy took out islands. They would say Luffy took out that Marineford island, right? Because that was a busticle. There's no way they're saying that the Marines busticled themselves. They would probably say that Luffy, like, overtook Dressrosa, took out Dressrosa, right? They would probably say Luffy is destroying kingdoms as he goes through them, you know? So when people say to me, well, Rox actually took out these islands, the only island that we saw Rox take out was a fucking charity pyramid scheme island. An island that was like, we're a humble charity, and we are literally told, you're not a charity, you're embezzling money and pretending you're a charity. That's the one island we saw him take out. And it was a literal embezzlement island. It was full of people who were stealing from the poor, basically, or were taking money from the rich and keeping it and not actually helping anybody with it, right? So even though that narrator or Morgan's or whatever it was, so he took out 3 islands, we didn't see that. The only island that we saw him take out was one that was an embezzlement charity island. And we didn't see him kill any innocents, mind you. Although I'm not saying... I don't even know if Rox has killed innocents, and I say this genuinely because I haven't seen that either. It's like Roger, right? People just assume Roger and Rox have killed innocent people. They just assume because they're pirates. We haven't seen it. Right? So, when people say this stuff, again, this is pirate propaganda. This is the propaganda that the Marines and the world government push, that pirates are bad, pirates are this, pirates are that, pirates are, they're basically terrorists, right? But then we actually see these characters and there's no implication that they would just be wildly killing people. Just wildly, there's no implication Rox would just be wildly killing people. The most we've seen Rox do is stab little baby Loki, and that still has yet to be explained. And I'm telling you, I bet it's going to be that Rox didn't want Loki following him. Right? And he needed to take drastic measures to stop that from happening. And then it's like, oh, well, Rox hit a kid. Majority of Straw Hats have hit a child. Like, majority of the Straw Hats have fought children. Like, what are you talking about? Oh my god, Rox punched little baby Loki. Majority of Straw Hats have, like, hit a kid. This is not a weird thing. Garp beat the shit out of Luffy when he was a kid. So I'm supposed to turn to Garp and say, I know Garp's a genocidal maniac. Look how bad he beat Luffy. Like, are you guys hearing yourselves? This is why it's like the double standards that pirates get is just insane. It's just insane. Because I see people say, oh, Rox could do this and could do... They assume that Rox is doing the worst of the worst because he is a pirate. Right? He is a pirate. So they assume he's doing worst of the worst. And he's not. We haven't seen him do worst of the worst. We just haven't seen it. The worst he's done is the Davy Back fights. And bringing in other crew members, because he said, I'm going to take over the world. And and people immediately assumed that was like awful evil. But the more I read this, the more I truly believe Rox just wanted freedom. And that's why when I look at Blackbeard, I'm truly seeing a kid who was severely traumatized, who saw the powers of the world, who saw his father and decided his father didn't do enough. His father wasn't cruel enough, right? Blackbeard is, in my opinion, emulating what celestial dragons are because he wants to be on top of the world, right? So he's owning islands, he's owning slaves because that's what the celestials do. And that's the powers that be. He wants to emulate that power and take over because they were trying to kill him. Also, his dad obviously is about to try to kill him because he's been Domi Reversi. So basically, anyway, TLDR, a lot of people fall for the propaganda in One Piece. A lot of people fall for it. Just tons. How do you feel about Rox killing the Admiral, though? Has he killed any people? Or just an Admiral? You know, just asking. Just asking. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if he killed Admirals. I don't give a shit if he's killed Admirals. You think I give a fuck about that? Those Admirals are bums. On this island, you think I give a fuck? Damn! If Kizaru got killed on Egghead, do you think I'd give a fuck? He was trying to kill a little girl on Egghead. You think I give a shit about that? Like, what? I'm not gonna stand here and care about that when I have watched these same admirals just kill people because they think they have to. I've watched the Marines take out pregnant women and children and whole islands of innocent civilians because it's justice. And you think I give a fuck when an admiral dies? The admirals that are in charge of this shit? Fujitora is one of the only ones that I care about because he's actually doing something. Right? And he was also drafted. He didn't actually want to be there. He was drafted. When I found out Fujitora was drafted, I was like, oh, this is why he's chill. Right? They were only following orders. Oh my god. I'll never forget when people tried to convince me that Roger was a bad guy because he took out a Marine base. And I was like, you think I give a fuck that he took out a Marine base? First of all, we've watched Luffy take out an entire Marine base. Right? I think twice, personally. I think twice. You think I care? Canonically, by the way. But you think I care if Roger took out a Marine base? Right? Like, why would that make me think he's a bad guy? Because the only reason that would make me think he's a bad guy is if I thought the Marines were genuinely helping people. And majority of the time, they aren't. This is the crazy part. Majority of the time, they aren't. It is actually quite rare to see them truly helping people. It is honestly rare. I can count on one hand how many times we've seen Marines help people. And it's not even groups of them. It's maybe one or two. Which is why it's crazy to me that I'm even having to talk about this. There are like 3 Marines who actually help people. The code of justice is propaganda. That's exactly what I've been talking about. Exactly what I've been talking about. Here's the thing. I keep saying this. I don't think the Marines are evil. A lot of people think I think the Marines are just evil. I do not think they're evil. I think they're ignorant. I think they're ignorant, and I think a lot of them are willfully oblivious, and I think a lot of them especially abuse the power they know they have. Right? I do not believe the Marines are just the evilest of evil. I don't. The baby genocide was pretty fucking bad. There are many Marines that are like the O'Hara being taken out was fucking horrendous and horrific. Groups and groups of civilians innocent people of all ages just slaughtered, right? Like, I don't think the Marines overall are like evil. Like, I'm not calling Garp evil. I'm calling him ignorant and stubborn and a little bit stupid. I think he's incredibly ignorant. Whether that be willfully or not, he's ignorant. And that's dangerous. You should not have people in these positions of power being this ignorant, which is why I'm looking at this. I'm looking at what Garp is seeing, and there's no indication that Garp got his mind wiped, mind you, because Sengoku said Garp doesn't like talking about it, meaning he surely remembers this, right? So unless Garp got his memory wiped, or unless he's being blackmailed, I just don't understand why he's still a Marine. I don't get it. And the only thing I can come up with is because he's stubborn. Because I truly believe Garp believes the future of the Marines can save the world, which is why he's so hung up about it. Which is why he's so hung up about the future of the Marines. Because I can see where he's coming from. I can see him thinking, if I bring in good Marines, right, then I can create a Marine system that can actually help people. But here's the issue with that. One or two good people within this gear, like machine, monstrous machine of a system is not going to fix the whole thing. That's the issue, right? And when Garp has these so-called good Marines, when he's recruited some of these people, one of the biggest ones being Kuzan, you know? Kuzan. They leave. Kuzan is such an interesting example because Kuzan got to the top. He was at the top. For fuck's sake, Sengoku is Garp's like best friend. And Garp can't even do shit when Sengoku has decided something. So what's he supposed to do? It feels like he's tried again and again and again and again, and it's just not working. And now his final hope is Kobe. That's his final hope. But now we're seeing Kobe is starting to also be indoctrinated, because Kobe seems to truly believe the One Piece would be better off with the Marines, which would be with the world government. Yes? And that's a problem. Because how can you see what happens around you? Again, it's ignorance. And I know Kobe's ignorant because Kobe said to Blackbeard, Marines don't bargain with pirates. That's a fucking lie. The Marines had a whole system where they bargained with pirates. It was called the Warlords. Guys, how the fuck can Kobe say that? Marines don't bargain with pirates. They bargained so much with pirates. They had a whole little pirate army. That's how much they bargain with pirates. So Kobe, like Garp, is now he's got this cognitive dissonance. He's got this willful ignorance, and that's going to ruin him. It's truly going to ruin him because he's gonna become like Garp. You cannot fix what's broken if you ignore the broken bits, especially if you don't tell someone you want to fix something where the broken bits are. Garp is basically shielding Kobe from the disgusting nature of a lot of Marines, from the disgusting and abusive powers of many Marines, right? And that's a problem. He shouldn't be doing that because that's not how you fix something. And I'm seeing now the repercussions of Garp's actions within Kobe. He's not raising him well. And the same thing has happened with Kuzan. Kuzan was shocked at Ohara. Shocked. I think Garp is using his influence as a beloved icon and instructor to strengthen the moral fiber of the Marines against the CDs for the Revo strike. That's a lot, dick so small I piss on my balls. That's a lot. I don't know. I don't know because I don't know if Garp agrees with Dragon. I don't think he does. And the reason I don't think he does is because after God Valley, right? After God Valley, we know this happened after God Valley. Dragon clearly left the Marines. And then Kuzan and Garp were talking to each other when Kuzan was wanting Garp to train him, basically. And Garp said, oh my god, I cannot believe my son has become a revolutionary army leader. I cannot believe he's become a rev. There has been no indication that Garp is happy with the fact that Dragon is a Rev. If anything, I see it as Garp is stubborn. He's just stubborn. He wants to believe his path is the righteous path, is the correct path. I think he's quite upset that Dragon has left the Marines because he wants to bring in good Marines. Every time he brings him a good Marine, Dragon, Kuzan, Kobe, something happens along the way. He's trying to recruit good people for the Marines, but these good people either get eaten up by the monster or they see the monster for what it is and they get the fuck out of there. Right? Garp is incredibly stubborn, and Garp is literally 3 times the charm with Kobe. Dragon didn't work. Kuzan didn't work. Now it must be Kobe. And the reason I'm not sure of Garp like siding with Dragon or siding with the Revs like now currently is because a lot of people also thought Kuzan was a spy for the Marines. I do not believe at all that's the case, because I think that kind of goes against who Kuzan is and the point of the Marine like system kind of chewing people up and spitting them out, right? Kuzan wanted to change things. Akainu didn't let him. So he left, right? This whole thing of, and you know what's funny though? People realizing that the only way Garp can truly be redeemed right now is if he is siding with the Revs or he's helping the Revs in some way. Doesn't that prove my point that the Marines are fucked? Does it not? So if the only way Garp can really be redeemed at this point in time is he's helping the Revs, then my point stands. The Marines are horribly broken and they are horribly oppressive, and the only way Garp can truly get a payoff that is feel good for Garp fans is that he's working with the Revs, right? That's proving my point. Oh no, I know a lot of Garp fans think Garp has been redeemed, and I keep telling them what I'm seeing is making Garp look worse. Because why is he still a Marine? Why is he still following orders in the Marine system? Why is he still sitting there and letting people he loves be killed for the sake of the justice he wears on his back? Why? Why did he just let Ace die after this man has been to God Valley and seen the corruption firsthand? How and why? Right? There's no redemption going on. There's just more questions of why the fuck are you still in the Marines? But this is why the cognitive dissonance that Garp has is so frustrating, because he's like, I've never met the 5 elders, those scum. And it's like, they're your boss. Like, again, it's an ignorance. It's a willful oblivious that's like, okay, you don't like them, but you are still doing their dirty work. Like, you are. Ace being taken out, executed, that was for the world government. That was for the Marines. They are trying to wipe out the pirate age because the pirate age fuels freedom. Garp is currently working on the side that is trying to oppress that freedom, right? Which is why there's so much propaganda regarding pirates. Roger was marked as the devil, because he fueled the pirate age and he told people, go out there and find it, because he wants people to find the truth, right? And so Roger needed to be removed, and then Ace needed to be removed, because they have to take out the bloodlines. They were trying to totally remove the pirate age, and Whitebeard knew that, and that's why he yelled the One Piece is real, because he needed to start that shit back up, because that's what Roger wanted too. Which is, again, it's like, it's great that Garp doesn't like these guys. We always knew he didn't like the Celestial Dragons, and the question then remains, so why are you working under them? Why? Why are you working within the system that serves them more than goes against them? Why are you not a Rev, Garp? Right? And it just has to be a stubbornness. If it's not blackmail and if it's not memory loss, it has to be stubbornness. I just don't know what else it can be. If he leaves, the Marines will be worse. I think it's that simple. It's pretty hard to be killing a bunch of pregnant women and babies. Uh, uh yeah, but if he leaves, he can do more good probably in the revs. Like, like, do you see what I mean? Oh, my violent dog might attack 10 people instead of 9 if I leave. So instead of you know, putting it somewhere in a cage, I'm just gonna stick with my violent dog. Like, I don't know. It just sounds like that to me. It just sounds like a stubbornness. Even Zebek said, sorry, Zebek, I don't know him like that. Even Rox said, why the fuck is Garp a Marine and not a pirate? Right? And Rox was right. Rox was right. Why is Garp a Marine and not a pirate? What have they done to him? Like, what has Garp seen that has made him a Marine? I don't get it. I truly do think, here's the thing, right? And I've talked about this. I truly do think Garp wants to help people. This is not me belittling Oda's writing, by the way. I think Garp's fantastic. Because I think Garp is, used Dragon as a hostage. Dragon, the most wanted man in the world, who got away and created the Revolutionary Army. That doesn't make sense. He would have quit by now. Dragon? I think Dragon, like, even if they got him as a kid, he's clearly free now. So I'm pretty sure that he's gone. But I don't know. You know what else it could be? Maybe Garp is fucking scared of Imu. Maybe Garp is terrified of what he saw Rox do after getting Domi reversied. That's another theory that could be there. Maybe he's scared. You know? Maybe he's terrified that could happen to him. And it's horrifying to him to think of killing his own kin, basically. But at the same time, isn't that funny? Because he just stood there while Ace got executed. So, I don't know. Irony. But, God, what was I talking about? Oh, basically, anyway, what I wanted to say with Garp is, here's the thing. I think he's a good character because he's a walking, talking propaganda tool, right? Garp is the best piece of propaganda the Marines and world government could have ever gotten because he is on a leash. And the people that argue that he's not are bizarre to me because he clearly is. He's on a chain. His animal is literally a dog. He's an old dog and he's not learning new tricks. He's very loyal to the system that he is serving. Even if he bites sometimes, he's not going to leave. To the point that he didn't do anything to help Ace. He did the absolute bare minimum to hide under the radar because, oh, I can't let people think I'm going against the Marines. But why can't you let people think that? Like, why? Why is the reputation of the Marines more important than the safety of the people you love? I don't get it. Right? I just don't get it. So, when it comes to Garp, I think he's a good character because what I see with Garp is I see a man who he wants a good future. He wants a future where people are safe, right? And he thinks the way to ensure that future is the Marines have to be good. The Marines have to save people. But the issue with that is he's very tunnel visioned, right? He's incredibly tunnel visioned. So my issue with Garp is he puts the future of the Marines over the future of the people he loves or just innocents, like innocent civilians in general. Basically, what I see with Garp is necessary sacrifice, right? there's a belief within Garp, I think, where sacrifice must be made to ensure the future. And that's where Dragon comes in, because Dragon does not believe that, right? Like, the sacrifices that Dragon makes is his own, basically. As in, he will not allow innocents to die if he can help it, right? But Garp seems fine with that. And I know he seems fine with that because his best friend is on top of the Marines, Sengoku. And we have seen multiple genocides within the Marine system while Garp has been in it, right? Multiple. So Garp will save a Marine before he'll save a civilian, especially if it's Kobe. That's the issue. That's why Dragon and Garp truly mirror each other, because Dragon will save an innocent civilian before he'll save a Revolutionary Army person, because that's the sacrifice they have made. Yes, but Garp will not save a it will save a Marine before he saves an innocent, right? Even on God Valley, what's going on right now, he's not saving anybody. He's jumped forward to hit Imu, which he believes is an elder, yes? But he's not saving anyone. He's jumped right into the action. Meanwhile, we're seeing Dragon desperately trying to saving people. And we're just seeing the difference here. He's not actively saving people, right? He's running for pirates. He's running for glory right now. He's not wanting to save anybody right now. I'm watching Kuma save people. I'm watching Dragon save people. We are literally watching the difference between the Revs and the Marines. The Marines truly seem to work on this idea of justice, but they work on a glory more than anything. And then I'm watching the founding fathers of the Revs, and they are actively trying to save people, right? They are happy to run from the current fight or run from the current pirates if it means they can save as many people as they can. And they don't even have that much power. Kuma doesn't have that much power. Dragon doesn't have that much power. Garp is fucking galaxy impacting. And it's like, you stop doing that. And that's why when it comes to like the aura farming that people talk about, oh, but he did this and that. And it's like, but who's he saving? Who is he saving when he does that? Right? He's just punching. And it's like, I understand it looks cool. I get it. But in my opinion, this is another way of like, people are in the action, and that's great. One Piece also has a lot of action, but they're not paying attention to what is actually going on here, right? Garp is just incredibly tunnel visioned. He's ignoring the deaths of the innocents around him because he wants to go after the pirates and punch an elder. And it's like, I just don't. I don't agree with it, because I know the reason we're seeing Dragon and Kuma right now on Golden Valley with him is because we're seeing the difference between someone in it for punch and someone in it to save. Right? He saves people by happenstance. I mean, I'll never forget when I joked about this and when Garp Galaxy impacted Fullerled, and I joked, did he just take out some slaves? Like, I don't think he did. But it felt like collateral, right? It felt like collateral to me. He just kind of barrels in and doesn't seem to really care who gets hurt when he does that. And it's similar to Luffy, but the issue is, this is where I can say, but Garp is supposed to be a Marine, right? Luffy does not have a duty to save people. He still does. Garp does have a duty to save people, and he doesn't. He just doesn't. And it's just so interesting that what seems to be giving Garp his hero title is total propaganda. Just total propaganda. He's like a false icon, basically. So it's crazy, because when I talk about Marineford and when I talk about Garp being the hero of the Marines, and people say, well, what was he supposed to do? He's the hero of the Marines. And I say, well, why does that matter? Why did he care so much about being the hero of the Marines? So now it's recontextualizing Marineford. Because now Garp is holding onto a label that is fake. It seems to be fake, right? At least to me. So why the fuck is he holding on to this? Why is he holding on to being the hero of the Marines? Morgans did it? No, I think the World Gov did it. Or the Marines themselves did it. Again, it's a propaganda tool. It's what happened to Smoker and Alabaster. Smoker needed to take the credit. Anyway, the reason I'm talking about Garp so much is because of, like, I like his character. But I cannot believe people are saying that this is redeeming Garp when it should be making you question him more. Question him so much more. You should not be going, he's redeemed. You should be asking, well then why in the current day is he still in it? That's what you should be asking. How is he redeemed? I just don't understand how people think he's redeemed. How is ignorance and then staying in the system once your eyes have been opened to your own ignorance redemption? How is that redemption? I just don't get it. Right? Because now I am looking at modern day Garp, and I can look at modern day Garp, old fuck Garp, and I can say this man knows what they did on God Valley. This man knows that Celestials had those slave hunts every 3 years now, and he's still there. Unless his mind got wiped. But again, there's not much implication there because Sengoku said Garp doesn't like talking about it. And again, that's the, oh, block it out type of belief. I don't know. People call this slander. This is what gets me. People call this Garp slander. When I talk about Garp like this, they call it Garp slander. And it rubs me the wrong way because then people are like, you have an agenda. I'm not saying I'm not biased because everyone's biased, but the agenda that people are saying I'm having is just looking at what Garp is doing in the story. I literally compare Garp to characters like Saul, to characters like Fujitora, to characters like Kuzan. And then when I compare those Marines to Garp and say they do more than Garp, Sentomaru, and I say they do more than Garp. They are actively going against what they know is wrong because they refuse to follow orders to kill innocent people, right? And then people say you're slandering him. I'm literally telling you what I've watched other Marines do and what Garp doesn't do. And then I get told that's Garp slander. And it's like, that it cannot be slander when I'm telling you directly what I am seeing. Because I am, right? When I ask you guys, why is Garp still a Marine? A lot of people are coming up with basically excuses or beliefs of what they want it to be. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he's a Rev agent or he forgot. And again, so the only way people can justify Garp still being a Marine is he's either working on the inside or he forgot about it. So it's either he's actually working against the Marines on the inside or it's ignorance. Which proves, again, my point. So him being a Marine of his own will, if it is of his own will, is bad. That proves my point. I just don't, like, how many times do I have to say it? I just don't know how many times I have to say it. Because I agree. If he is working on the inside to help the Revs, that's fucking great. I've definitely changed my mind about Garp. Truly. You know why? Because he's not actually working for the Marines then, is he? Oh, thank you for the donation. How do you feel about the Domi Reversi on rocks? I saw it coming. I saw it coming, and I would just like to add, I saw it coming the second we saw Imu Domi Reversi Dorian Broggy. Because I was one of the rare ones out there that kept saying, I don't think Rox is evil. I just think people think he's evil, right? Do I think it's cheap? No, not at all. I don't think it's cheap at all. I think that was set up. If you call it being set up cheap, okay, it would be a lot more cheap, in my opinion, if we never saw the Domi Reversi and then it just happened and we went, oh, okay, so this exists now. You know what I mean? It was set up beforehand to show us. But also, look, I personally fuck with the pieces coming together because when Rox was first introduced to us and everyone thought it was going to be evil and he didn't end up being evil, he ended up being chill, that's when people started going, wait, I can't see this guy killing anyone, right? So we are seeing how history has been changed, or we are seeing how someone like Imu is changing history. It was predictable, but it's only become predictable because we met Rox. Do you know what I mean? They cannot be. Look, I have a, how do I explain this? I'm not against the plot twist that you can guess. A lot of people think if you can guess a plot twist, it's a bad plot twist. But then what happens is people try too hard, and then you get an M. Night Shyamalan movie where the plot twist is fucking bogus. And makes no sense to anything, and it's ruined everything because it's dumb. I think a plot twist that you can guess is a good thing, although plot twist I say, and I think that's a good thing because it means you are reading the story, you are paying attention to the story. And people like me who were paying attention to Rox and thinking, I don't think he's evil, we were guessing, I think Rox got Domi Reversi. Right? I was guessing that because I was like, I just can't see Rox being this evil guy. Sorry, I'm reading all the... They think it's anticlimactic. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, especially with Imri saying, okay, now you're killing your wife and child. I went, oh. Like, I'm not excited for this. As in, I'm excited, but I'm scared. I think Domi Reversi is a very unsettling power, and I really like it because, as always, Oda always makes someone's power relevant to them, right? Imu's power is quite literally the removal of freedom, the removal of someone's own will. He's quite literally taking Rox's person, basically, and saying, I control you now. Like, that's Imu's power. Anti-life, right? Anti-rebellion, anti-freedom. So watching Imu take a symbol of freedom, such as Rox, and Domi reversing him and making him a puppet is disgusting. Because Doffy was similar to that as well. Doffy was the same. And now it's so fun looking at Imu and looking at Doffy. Because Doffy wanted to be on top of the world. Doffy wanted to rule the world. And he was halfway there. He had the power for it. And now we're seeing Imu as someone who truly can control people. Right? Truly can take people. Why do you think Imu didn't dispose of Garp after this? I talked about this because they needed a propaganda tool. You know? Also, I don't know if Garp knows that's Imu. Anyway, they needed a propaganda tool. They needed some... Because what is Garp right now? An admiral? I actually don't know what he is. But they needed some big marine man to say, oh, look what he did on God Valley. He's a hero. Right? The same way they didn't fire Smoker in Alabasta because Smoker worked with pirates. Again, it's propaganda. They needed someone to, like, put this on to make people believe in the Marines. I think, oh my god. Thank you for Submuchu. Here's my game theory for Domi Reversi and how it's going to change. How Luffy can help people. Music. I think it's going to be music. I think literal drums are going to be played. And that is what's going to save people. Because it's especially interesting that Gunko likes music. Because she likes Brook and she likes Soul King. And she's been Domi Reversied personally. For all we know, Gunko has been under Imu's control for eons. Right? For all we know, Gunko has been taken and messed with and mentally tortured and controlled for eons, right? But she likes music, and music is very liberating, very freeing. Music is literally an expression of freedom and joy, you know? So I think the way Domireverse is going to be fixed basically is music. I think literal drums will be played. I think Luffy may play some drums. At least that's what I think. When I say eons, I mean, I think Gunko as a child was a normal little girl. And then at some point in her childhood, she just got taken. And she has not had her mind ever since. Oh, this is so fucking lame. Think about Bucky from Marvel, Winter Soldier, like the movies, not the comics. I don't know much about the comics. Think about who he was before and then how they like took his brain and melded him and melted him and blah, 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 and they turned him into something he's not. And that's just fucked him up severely. That's what I think is happening to Gunko. I think Gunko used to be someone else and they've just destroyed her and used her. And I think she's being given a family name, right? I don't believe that Rox will still take control back and will have to sacrifice himself to save Teach, maybe after killing his wife. No, I don't think so. I think Rox is making it off God Valley because we haven't seen the thing with him stabbing Loki yet. I can't quite place where that is in time. But for now, I want to say I think Rox may have made it off God Valley. Because, like, I'll be real with you guys, I think it's very possible Rox killed himself. If this has happened to you and you've killed your own wife and tried to kill your child, you'd probably want to end it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this would be horrible to have happened to you. You know? I'm pretty sure there's something about, in Dressrosa when, Doffy overtook the king. Fuck, I forgot the king's name. When Doffy overtook the king, and I swear he said something like, I can't kill myself now because, like, I still need to... Riku. He was like, I can't kill myself now because I still need to, like, make up for the sins or whatever. And it's like, I swear there was something like that. Like, he wanted... He basically thought he just couldn't do it. But I wouldn't be surprised if this happens and he just kills himself. Like, he makes amends in ways that he best can, and then he's gone. But, God, what was I gonna say? Rox has to come back to his senses at some point. Oh, I also had this, like, theory, I suppose. But again, I think this is just reading the story scratches my head. That the reason so many of the Rox pirates, like Big Mom and Kaido, are just so broken as people is because of what happened to Rox. I think they liked Rox. I think they did enjoy being a family. Because Big Mom and Kaido are really at each other's throats, but that's because they're a family, right? They're very rough, but they clearly like each other, you know? And I wouldn't be surprised if one of the reasons Whitebeard made the family he did is because he lost the other one. He lost his other family, and he wanted to restart and make his own and actually protect them, you know? So, because I do think the Rox Pirates like each other. I'd be surprised if they didn't like each other, but I'm seeing it, and I think they do. And I do think that there's a future out there where if Rox survived and everything, like, it didn't end this way, Kaido wouldn't have been the way he was, Big Mom wouldn't have been the way she was, they wouldn't have become basically tyrannical dictators that just killed people. I think Rox was truly their clutch, and I think they loved him. Or at least he helped them in some way. And this happening to Rox would have been disturbing, right? Entirely disturbing, especially if you follow him as a captain. Even if he Davy backed you, they have respect for the guy. Whitebeard stayed good because everyone's going to go their different ways, you know? Everyone will definitely go their different ways, but there was, in my opinion, the way Whitebeard and Kaido talked to each other, I didn't feel that Whitebeard hated anyone. I didn't feel that Whitebeard hated Kaido, especially. In fact, Whitebeard seemed to treat Kaido like a little brother or a younger kid, you know, because Kaido was a kid. Kaido's the youngest. It did not feel like they hated each other. Whoa, thank you. That's what I think, though, because I do think in One Piece there's a showing of just how important a captain is. Because when we go to Water 7, right, and we see what happened in Water 7 between Luffy and between Usopp, think about what happened to the crew in Water 7. They were incredibly shaken, right? That was a make or break moment for the Straw Hats, you know? That truly nearly ruined them. And that's because their foundation, which was their captain, shook, you know? And nothing would have ever been the same if Luffy didn't stand through that, or if Usopp didn't apologize and come back, right? Nothing would have been the same because the captain has been shaken. Captains are the foundation of the crew. That's what Water 7 was about. So when I see captains such as Roger dying and his crew just becomes quite lost, especially Rayleigh, except for Gaban. Gaban's fucking living it up. But like Rayleigh became very lost, that's quite clear. Rox dying and his used to be crew just vanishing or turning into monsters. Fisher Tiger being taken out, and Jinbei tried to take over, but there were odds in the crew. Every time a captain in One Piece dies or something happens to a captain in One Piece, the whole crew changes. Everything is shaken. Because the crew is the base of... the captain is the base of the crew. It's why a captain has to stand tall, you know? Which is why I'm looking at Rox and I'm thinking, I just think Rox's death and what's happening to Rox here is truly what has shaken his crew. Truly. To such a horrible extent. And also Whitebeard's crew. Whitebeard died. His crew is all over the place now, right? In fact, a lot of Whitebeard's crewmates are dying. Like, every time we see a captain go down, we just see a total breaking of crew. And it's scary and it's sad, you know? Like, because these crews are families. Marco's getting lonely. Don't even start. Oh, I'm not even the biggest fan of Marco, as in I like him, but I don't think about him much. But when I do think about him, I feel so fucking bad. He's cursed. He's cursed with the Phoenix. He just can't die.
Howdy do, boys.
Why do you think Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom talk less about Rox in their later years compared to Roger? First of all, so we are kept curious about Rox. Because Oda wanted to make us know more about Roger before Rox. Second of all, because maybe that shit hurts. I honestly think when we see how Rox's crew are with each other, I think these are some of the best times of their lives. I think they're all really... like, these are their golden years, you know? These are the years that they must remember quite fondly. Because I'm seeing them drinking together, getting treasure together, having fun together. That shit's gotta hurt, right? It's gotta hurt, especially if you've turned into someone horrible. You don't want to think about who you used to be, do you? Marco's just forever survivor's guilt. He yearned. Anyway, is there anything else that I need to add on here? Dragon's still fucking awesome. Love Dragon. Rayleigh running through with Shaki and saying, "Get the treasure." Oh, Rayleigh, I like young ladies. Gaban. Giant women, let's breathe! Stop! Oh my god. These are Roger's wings, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, that's them. But in this chapter, with Roger saying to Gaban, give these guys backup. And with Rayleigh running through holding Shucky and saying, quick, take the treasure. I always have to say it. Thank you, Dragon. I always have to say it. Are we seeing what I mean when I say they're a mix between Zoro and Sanji now? Please, do I have to keep saying it? Do I have to? Every chapter we get, I'm just seeing more and more, like, mixings here. Right? More and more mixings. Rayleigh and Shaki were mum and dad for Buggy and Shanks. No! Rayleigh and Roger were mum and dad for Buggy and Shanks. I've never seen... I don't even think Shanks and Buggy are allowed on Amazon Lily. I've never seen it. Never seen it. But Roger and Rayleigh and Gaban, honestly, they're the ones that raised Buggy and Shanks. I don't know. Maybe Shaki retired at that point. I don't know. Rayleigh said, listen... We've got a kid now, okay? I gotta go back to Roger. I'll be back, right? It's a confusing situation. But we gotta raise the kids first. Yeah, I don't think Shaki ever sailed with them. I do know that Hutchie's mum and dad is Rayleigh and Shaki. I know that much. No, I don't think Shaki was with them. If Shaki were with them, surely Shanks or Buggy would be allowed on Amazon Lily, or would have known, I don't know, the Amazon Empresses to some extent. Roger baby trapped Rayleigh. I don't know what happened to Shaki. I'm assuming Shaki's retiring now. When did they pick up Buggy? That's the question. I'm looking at him. I want to know. To Brody. Wait, if she opened her bar in Sabodi and Rayleigh and Roger continued to sail, and then Roger died and Rayleigh came back to her and went, ooh. Oh man, I want Rayleigh Connolly. I get Shaki. Fuck, I understand Shaki so bad. I truly get her. Jeez. Oh my god. Yeah, keep sailing. Keep sailing with your captain and your friends. Go on. Raise that kid with him. Whatever. I won't question it. And then he comes back sobbing. I'd be like, oh. Marry me right away. My beautiful sad man. My sad wet puppy of a man. Oh. It was all for this. Or, I don't know, maybe Shaki went back to Amazon Lily for a bit. But Sabodi sounds right. Let's raise an octopus child. So yeah, Shanks and Buggy's mum and dad is Roger and Rayleigh. But Hutchie's mum and dad is Shaki and Rayleigh. Rayleigh's got a lot of kids. Rayleigh's a bit of a hawk. What's he having all these kids for with multiple people? Damn. Now Luffy as well? Now Luffy may as well be his kid, honestly. May as, like, kid child-in-law. I think music has always been important to One Piece, always. In fact, I talked about it in Brooks' video. Brooks' character video, which is probably worth the watch again, honestly, but just saying. But Oda has always set up the importance of music in One Piece and the importance of music to pirates. Honestly, one of the best scenes ever is in Skypiea around the bonfire, but then again in Skypiea at the end when war is over and they're playing the drums. Yeah, they're playing the drums of literal liberation at the end of Skypiea. How fucking crazy is that, right? So, not only that, I talk about in Brooks' video how Luffy is obsessed with getting a musician. He thinks a musician is so important that he puts it above, like, actual, what am I thinking of here? Like, shipwrights, or navigators, or cooks, or doctors, right? He puts musicians over everything. Um, and that's because a pirate's life is about freedom and joy and whimsy, and music brings you that. Music is so important for that. Like, the two things that I can see that Oda believes is freedom and happiness is food and music. Maybe some alcohol as well, maybe some drinks. And isn't that just true? Aren't some of the best memories you could have eating good food and listening to good music, right? Those are some of like the things that truly make us human, you know? Not just eating food to survive, but to enjoy it, to cook, to make recipes, you know? And creating music and dancing. That's truly what being human is, you know? That's truly a freedom that you can eat and have a full belly and enjoy good music. You dance when you're happy, or even when you're sad. You dance just to experience life, you know? So I have always seen throughout One Piece that music has been such an important part of it. Such an important part. So that's why the drums of liberation made so much sense. Because Oda thinks music is liberating. He clearly thinks so. And it's why I do think Domi Reversi is going to be fixed or helped by music. Especially by drums. I can see it happening. Music surrounds you from every side. I mean, I have this crazy fucking crackpot theory that the reason Drum Island is called Drum Island is because Luffy's going to play those mountains. It's an insane theory, but I had this is like crackpot shit. Like, Luffy is going to be huge, and he's going to the tops of those mountains because they are flat. Those mountains are flat, right? It's an insane theory, but I'm like, it's called Drum Island. It's the first time we also saw the Nika pose as well in Drum Island at the very end of Drum Island. When Luffy does the chopper thing with the chopsticks, he does the Nika pose. And I'm like, so there's a connection. There has to be a connection here. Why Drum Island? Why Nika pose for the first time at the end of Drum Island? If he ever gets massive, here's the two things that I think is gonna, like, crazy things I think is gonna happen. Luffy's gonna get massive and play the drums of Drum Island, and Luffy's gonna somehow end up in space. I truly believe Luffy will be in space at some point in One Piece. I don't think he'll journey around space, but I think he'll be flung up and down. You know what I mean? I think one of Luffy's final crazy ultimate attacks is he slingshots himself from space. I don't know what's going to happen with it now. But, like, I think he's going to go up and then down. He's going to literally rise and fall like the sun, you know? I think that one's crazy. But I believe it. In my heart, I believe it. But yeah, the Drum Island Mountains is insane. I'll admit that's insane. But it's only because all of the mountains of Drum Island are flat. They look like drums. So that's what I think could happen. The human fruit was at Drum Island? It was. Oh, I also said the reason I think Blackbeard was at Drum Island is because he thought that was Nika's fruit. He heard the human fruit was there. So he went to Drum Island and it wasn't what he wanted. Because I think people still debate why he went there. That's why I think he went there. He was looking for the fruit. And it wasn't the one that he wanted because it was Chopper's fruit, right? Not the Nika fruit. They also do look like nuclear plant towers. What if his dream is to play music to the whole world? I think Luffy's dream is just one big party. I think Luffy wants the world to have one huge massive party together. And what a dream. What a dream. I want that. I'd love us all to party together. Luffy will stop a flip on his crew. Reversi. Uno reversi. A party with everyone in the world. With good food and with music. Yep. I mean, especially considering every arc ends in a banquet. Actually, God, I love how Oda's done it. Speaking of reversi, isn't that fucking awesome? He's literally reversied Elbaf. Elbaf started with a banquet, and now it's descending into chaos from the banquet. He's reversing his own fucking arc, which is crazy. Because I remember when it started with the banquet, everyone was like, why are we starting with one of these? That's not normal. And it's because something was wrong. Something was horribly wrong. Bad omen, exactly. Double spread with a whole party? Have we not had that before? Not even in Fishman? I swear we got a double spread party page. Whatever. I'd have to go back and check. Not in Alabaster? Have we not? Yeah, I'm not sure how Elbaf is gonna end. I'm not sure if Luffy is going to figure out how to stop the Reversi in Elbaf, by the way. That's what I can't decide on. Because I can see Oda doesn't want to do that yet. We've seen the Reversi, we've seen it impact Dorian Broggy, and then we've seen it impact Rocks. So, I can see Oda not wanting to do that yet, but I can also see him wanting to. Which is why I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. But if he pulls out drums, you can bet I was here first, right? That was me. Anyway. They might just make Imu leave. All I know is because Gabun is there, they have a mentor. And if they have a mentor, it means something needs to be taught. Because every time a Roger pirate jumps in, we are taught something. Especially with, like, because Rayleigh, right? Rayleigh was Luffy's mentor through the 2 years. I don't think we're getting another time skip, but I can feel that Gabun is going to teach the crew something. I feel he's already told Zoro something. He's already told Sanji something. We don't know what. And he must surely be teaching Luffy something eventually. And I think what it's going to be is how to channel your haki to stop the immortals, basically, or to fight the immortals. We've never seen this power before. The regen, yeah, that's what I think. So I think Gabun's going to teach them that. Because I think it's literally just a channeled Conqueror's haki, basically. And I think he needs to tell them how to do that. I just don't know why else we'd get a Roger Pirate at this point in time. Roger Pirates exist to tell us things. That's why the second I saw Gabun in Elbaf, I went, I think something bad might be happening. I love him. Fuck, I love Gabun. I didn't know this, by the way. Oh my god. Do we remember when... Sorry, I have to talk about Sanji now. Do we remember when, hang on. Wait. Thank you for the donation. I like to believe that Luffy can cancel Domi Reversi by slapping the giants in the head like a drum, flipping them over. What if he does what he did to Kizaru and Saturn and turns them flat like a pizza, but instead of spinning them, he flips them? That would be funny. But, what I was gonna say was, I didn't realize this. Maybe I did and I just talked about it already and I forgot. But, when, Gabun was like, someone's got cock leaking out of them, and Sanji jumped forward to say, oh, is it me? Is it me? He called Gabun Gigi. That's what he calls Zeph. Ugh. I didn't know that. Bitch, that is so cute. Oh my god, that's so cute, right? I have not seen Sanji call another old man Gigi before. So it's like, does he miss him? Oh. Does he miss his dad? Fuck. New grandpa acquired. It's so, oh. It's so cute. There's a cat meowing outside. His what is leaking? His cock. But I was like, I didn't know that until like 2 days ago. My friend told me, and I was like, I didn't know he called him that. That is just so sweet. It kills me. It kills me. I mean, look, I've always talked about. We're getting off track, but I've always talked about Sanji likes being praised, especially by older men, because he's got daddy issues. By women as well, right? But the funniest part is when men his own age praise him, he says, "Shut the fuck up." But when it's like older men and they're like being kind, Sanji's quite cute about it, and it's like, oh, he just can't escape the daddy issue allegations. He cracks me up. Jumped forward and called Gabun Gigi. His love for his dad came out. That is so cute. Smoker is not old. Smoker is not old. What are you talking about? He's like 30 something. I'm talking about like 60 to 80-year-old men. Right? We talked about Gup all throughout this stream, by the way. If you want to see what I was saying about Gup, watch the VOD. I can't do it again. I can't do it again, okay? I can't do it again. Actually, you know what someone said to me? They said, why do you keep talking about Gup like this? And I was like, because he's in the fucking chapters. Like, what? Someone said, why don't you talk about Kobe like this? And I was like, I did. Back in Full Alert, I talked about Kobe like this. Now I'm going to talk about Garp because now Garp is here. That's crazy, right? I talk about characters and relevance with the chapters. Anyway, when it comes to the Marine, Sentomato is the GOAT. Sentomato is the undisputed GOAT. Saul as well. GOATs, both of them. I miss Smoker every day. He insists upon himself. He insists upon himself. That's a point, though. What? Isn't it weird that Garp and Sengoku were besties? It's kind of weird, isn't
Howdy
it?
do, boys.
Because Sengoku's pretty not good. Like, I do not think Sengoku's like a good Marine as Garp would want. So why besties? Because I just can't get over Sengoku saying to Garp, you can't stop this. You can't stop Ace being killed. And Garp was like, I know. Like, what? Why are you guys friends? Sometimes you got that problematic friend. I sure fucking don't. I sure don't. If someone said to me, you can't stop your grandson from being executed, I would probably stop being their friend. Like, hello? Why? I don't... Work friends, so Garp's friend, because Garp does nothing but work. That old fucking bum is supposed to be retired. Can he leave? Please! Can he go do something else? Can he please go do something else? Please? He's supposed to be retired, but he keeps coming back. God, he really is an old dog, isn't he? Garp, leave and play bingo or something. Like, for the love of fucking God. Go, what do old people do? Play golf. Like, why do you hate Garp so much, someone says. I don't hate Garp. I hate the way people defend Garp. And again, watch the VOD for this if you'd like to understand that. I think he's a good character. It's frustration. It's total frustration. Someone said, Garp, please get addicted to slot machines. That's Rayleigh, excuse me. Rayleigh's addicted to slot machines. That's so true. He's meant to be retired, right? I'm not wrong about that. Like, he's supposed to be, yes? Or have I made that up in my mind? Do I just want him to retire? He is? Why the fuck is he still here? Oh my god, Grandpa doesn't know the party's over. He wanted to retire after Marineford. They said no. Oh, ah! I thought Garp didn't follow orders. What? Sorry. For those who don't know, there's a oh, we're talking about Garp again. For those who don't know, there's a excuse that I always see people say, where I say Garp's a Marine, blah blah blah, and they say, oh well, Garp doesn't actually follow orders. He doesn't actually follow orders. He does. And I'll never forget, someone had that excuse said to them, and they said, so he just really wanted to watch Ace die. Garp just really wanted to do nothing and let Ace be executed. And it fucking kills me, because I'll remember that for the rest of my life, because I'll definitely be using that as a counterpoint to anyone who tells me Garp doesn't follow orders. Yes, the fuck he does. Yes, he does! Oh, goodness. Anyway. The Garp's driven away everyone who cares about him. Yeah. Look, he's an interesting character, okay? He's a very interesting character. He wanted the best seat. No, I know Garp and Sengoku are besties, because Garp said, hold me down! Hold me down! At Marineford. I have a question, actually. Look, we're talking about it now. I have a question. What was everyone's initial reaction to Garp yelling at Sengoku to hold him down when Ace was killed by Akainu? What was everyone's reaction to that? Did you feel bad for Garp? I'm genuinely asking because I'm really shocked at the contrast of reactions. Yowie. Now you care. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm glad I'm getting these reactions. Like, I'm glad you guys are telling me this, because I cannot tell you how, when I, like, look, the reason I talk about Garp so much, okay, is because when I first started reading One Piece and I was first in this fandom, I talked about Garp the way I talk about any, like, character, like, within a series. As in, I've read this, I've analyzed him, and I've come to a conclusion of what I think he's supposed to be, yes? Which is why, like, this shonen space, I always tell you guys, this shonen space is, oh, I've heard that before. You are only projecting your real life viewpoints onto the story. The real life viewpoint where his son ran off and became a revolutionary, and two of his fellow Marines that he recruited under him also quit and said to him, wow, people keep quitting under you. That's my real world viewpoint. My real world viewpoint, even though the story itself contradicts Garp. Because he's got a son that is a rev, who he seems frustrated at. And it's quite clear the reason his son is a rev is because genocides are happening and the Marines are siding with the genocides. But that's my real world viewpoint. You don't think that this is supposed to be a frustration of Garp, right? You don't think this is supposed to be a look at Garp and how he's a literal dog. You know how his animal's a dog? Like, it's a dog? It's a dog? His animal's a dog? You think that's my real world viewpoint, that his animal is a dog? Or do you just think the dog means nothing? Do you just think he's a dog just because? Or is that my real world viewpoint, that I'm just making Garp a dog? You know? Just dog cause cool. Every time I get that, you're putting your real world viewpoint onto One Piece. Because One Piece is about the real world. It's fictional and it's fantasy. But you know what all good fantasies do? Mirror the real world. That's what all good fantasies do. That's what the granddaddy of fantasy does. Lord of the Rings. That Lord of the Rings is literally meant to emulate the real world, be based on the real world. Oda believes that everything is necessary. Yeah, in the same way he believes that if you have ignorant Marines, nothing can change. He seems to clearly believe that. You know why I know that? Because the Marines are fucking infighting. They are infighting. The Marines are at odds with each other. If this were just my real world viewpoint, I wouldn't see Marines in the story commit genocides. They are committing genocides in the story. I have watched the Marines commit more genocides than the average pirate. I have. Buster calls are always carried out by Marines. The oppressed in One Piece are always scared of the Marines. Yes, I have watched Marines bargain with pirates for their own power. And that's my real world viewpoint, you're saying. That's just not in the story. That's what you're arguing to me right now. Me watching the Marines kill a ton of civilians, kill children, kill pregnant women, right? Try and kill little girls. That's my real world viewpoint. I'm being biased against the Marines. That's like, the Marines have literally said, if you are not under the world government, you do not have human rights. Marines have said that, but that's my real world viewpoint, that I'm just biased. This is a disingenuous take. But you shouldn't defend the Marines as an entity, because not even Oda defends the Marines as an entity. Because the Marines as an entity are committing genocides. You should be defending maybe the one or two singular Marines that are actually trying to help people. Sentomaru, Saul, Fujitora, even Smoker. Those are the Marines you should be defending. As an entity is the problem. That's what the story is telling us is the problem, right? Dragon has not defended the Marines as a group. Dragon literally said, I saw no fucking justice there. How has Dragon defended them? The most Dragon and Iva have said is how weird we both want to help people, but we're at odds. And they're at odds because the Marines aren't actually helping people. It feels like the message that they flied over your head. I've gotten this before. I've gotten this. You're putting your real world ideas into One Piece. I'm watching Marines commit genocides and kill pregnant women and try and kill children. And I get told you're putting your real world beliefs in One Piece. How fucking crazy is that? How insane is that? I will defend the one or two Marines that are not killing women and children, right? That are not acting out Buster calls, that are not defending slave owners, but that's very few and far between. Very few and far between, right? That's the issue. Defending the Marines as an entity is the opposite of what I'm reading. The total opposite of what I'm reading. What I'm reading is Marines as an entity is a problem. If it were not a problem, Dragon wouldn't have said, I was in the Marines, I saw no justice there. Literally them being this system, this military entity is the problem. That's the issue. The entity wants to erase individuality. Exactly. What would you say is the mission statement of the Marines? To enact justice. To put justice to the world. But what is that justice? The Marines were created, I'm pretty sure, like, by the world government to be their military. Were they fucking not? The Marines are a subsection of the world government. The justice the Marines are fighting for comes from the oppressions and genocides of multiple peoples. The Marines literally are there to defend the 1% first, because that's where they are birthed from. The justice that the Marines have within the story has been told to us to be false. Even the term justice has been told to us to be a man-made, tyrannical, power-hungry vacuum. Doffy's whole fucking speech is about that. Doffy's whole speech is about justice is fucked. On Marineford, where they're acting out justice. The literal whole point of the Marines is they are there to enact justice, but the justice they have on their backs is a lie. Or it's an excuse for them to just kill people and call it justice. Which is why I keep saying the Marines need to be reformed. They need to be. They need to be created outside of this world government system, which is what the Revs are. That's literally what the Revs are. But the reason the Revs and the Marines are so different is because the Revs do not hold justice on their backs. They do not do things and go, this is for justice. They just want liberation for people, right? The issue with the Marines is they carry that symbol on their backs and it's a weight. And that weight ruins them because they get blinded. Oh, we only see the bad parts. So Marines constantly acting out busticles is just the bad parts. Are you understanding? It sounds more like you're putting your world views in this, man. If we're only seeing the bad parts of the Marines, when we are told within the story that the Marines are good, like people think the Marines are good, but we are actually seeing what the Marines really do. Isn't it the other way around? Isn't it like the peoples of the world want to believe the Marines are good, but it's the opposite. Someone said getting rage baited in YouTube. Here's the thing. I understand if this might be rage bait, but at the same time, some people read this series and genuinely think this shit. I know this for a fact that they think this shit, right? Do you know how many people have come to me and said something for them with the Marines and something about the Marines? They are genuine. So even if this is rage bait, I'm just hoping what I'm saying here can make people understand what the Marines' place in the story is. That's my issue. So many people don't know what the Marines' place in this story is. And it's clearly ignorance. It's clearly tunnel vision justice. It's clearly the powers that be using this military might as an oppress. That's what the Marines' place in the story is. And we are being in the story, right? It's, oh no, but they're good. And it's why I keep saying people in the real world are falling for the propaganda. 1 or 2 good Marines does not fix a system. Yes, there are still good people in the Marines. Can those singular good people actually help and stop the Marines? No. Why? Because the world government still exists. That's why the Rev target is world government. Because what can the Revs do against the Marines? They can't do shit against the Marines. They would be fighting nothing if they fought the Marines. Because they need to fight their boss. If you fight the employee and not the boss, what are you really changing here, you know? That's why I'm saying it's rooted in the world government system. The Marines, have grown from the roots of the world government system. I don't know if Garp is a good apple per se. He's not evil. He's just ignorant. Again, in my opinion, it's about the ignorance. The ignorance is the problem. Now, I totally forgot. I was saying something about Garp beforehand. And I totally forgot about it. But yeah, but the reason I say that thing is because I have gotten that argument so many times. So many times have I gotten the argument that, from people saying, you're putting your real world views into one piece. And that's so interesting because my real world views are just quite liberal. And I believe One Piece is pretty liberal, ? But I'm literally reading the story for what it is. I'm reading the story for what it is. I have watched how the Marines have ruined lives. Horribly ruined lives. Taken out islands. Literal full islands. More than we've ever seen any pirate do. Or they've simply done nothing against the pirates that they are apparently supposed to be protecting the people from. And then I get told, oh, you're putting your real world view into this. And it's like, even if I were, which everyone I suppose does, but even if I were, the story is still telling us they are a problem. Like, it's still telling us this. Which is just what's crazy to me. I'm putting my real world views into it. I don't see any single Marine helping any slave on God Valley. Only one doing that is Dragon. And Dragon leaves and forms the Revolutionary Army. I have literally seen the Marines saying, stop thinking as an individual. I am watching Kuma, a literal child, be the one to save all the slaves on God Valley. I'm not seeing a single Marine save the slaves in God Valley. It has not happened. But apparently these are my real world views, thinking the Marines are a problem. Right? That's why it's so ridiculous, because if that's rage bait, congratulations, you've baited me. If that is not rage bait and you genuinely think that, you need to read this story more. I'm telling you. People are just so blinded by the Marines being good, because we are so blinded by the idea of good versus bad, and that's literally what One Piece is about. There is no good versus bad here, except I guess Imu, but the Marines' idea of pirates versus Marines is a lie. Literal propaganda. It's a lie. The pirates are not the so-called bad the Marines are being told they are. Yes, there are bad pirates, but they are not one big evil entity. Yes? That's the point. It's also crazy to say I'm putting my worldview into it when Oda has included who was who was the real world revolutionary figure that he included in his story? Chev something. Che Guevara? Sorry, I don't actually know how to say the name. Him. He's got a photo of that guy in his office. Right? Come on, man. I don't know this man personally. But it is fucking insane to totally deny, like, the inspirations of real world revolutionists in his story. And say, you're just projecting your own beliefs. It's like, I'm literally seeing what Oda's giving me. I'm seeing it, and then I'm being told, no, you're wrong. And it's like, okay. Well, I don't know then. No, Caribou isn't based on him. Caribou just looked like him, but there was an actual revolutionary leader that was based on him. And what are you saying? Mr. Nine, I don't listen to much what you say because I know you're trying to rage bait me. But are you being authentic? Well, if you're being authentic, sorry. So someone said, ignoring that Koala said the celestial dragons and not the world government are the enemy is your downfall. When you say the world government is the enemy, you condemn Cobra and every other good king that's part of the world government. Here's the thing. Those so-called good kings were taken advantage of by the world government. The world government is their enemy. And we know the world government is their enemy because Imu is the enemy. Imu runs the world government. All these so-called good kings were fully taken advantage of. Fully. Also, there's multiple points where the Revolutionary Army speak poorly of the world government. The world government is their enemy, not the celestial dragons. The world government. Also the celestial dragons, but it's the world government. We have literally watched the world government fucking ruin kingdoms. Ruin them, because these kingdoms can't do anything. Anything about it. The world government system functions just fine if you just subtract the CDs. No, because then you have the ruling class take total advantage of what they can take advantage of, which is probably how the world government came to be in the first place. Probably how the Celestials came to be in the first place. It's a power vacuum, right? Well, thank you for the sub. But see, now I think that's rage bait, because I recognize you. I watched a documentary about the murder of Fred Hampton, chairman of the Black Panther Party, murdered by the state in the age of 21. His ideals of free food program for the kids, free healthcare clinics, and of course liberation. Yeah. again, I don't know Oda personally, but it's just so frustrating when it's like, I am told that my own beliefs are in this thing, and it's like, but I think those are Oda's beliefs too. Otherwise, why is he writing like this? Like, why is he literally writing a story about the oppression of military systems and world government systems and pirates not actually being the evil that the world in this story says they are, right? Why would he write that if he did not really believe that? I don't know. I don't know. It's good to analyze what you're reading, guys, is what I'm saying. Oda's not portraying monarchies in a good light. He's not. Because here's what I've said before with I think I talked about this in my Marine video, which I've made, by the way. He's got princesses and kings, etc., etc., etc. But when we see these princesses and kings and queens, they run smoothly when there's multiple people in charge, right? Like, it's not just the kings. And it's not just the queens, and it's not just the princesses. It's just not one person sitting on the throne, right? And a lot of these so-called monarchies are also being taken advantage of. So when there are monarchs in One Piece, such as Vivi, right? Vivi from Alabasta, she does not actually have full control. There's also monarchs in One Piece who are bad, such as Wapol. There are kings that are evil as well. But the kings that lean into the power-hungry beast and they take advantage of that are the ones that are evil. The ones that are going against the world government are the ones that are so-called good, right? Literally, there seems to be a true belief he has that if you care about your people, that's what matters. But this is why when people are like, there's monarchs in One Piece, and yes, there are, but they are not truly in charge, right? They are in charge of their own islands, but they must be in charge under the conditions of the world government. Vivi is in hiding from the world government, exactly. Basically, what I believe is what he's doing is there's a message there of when these monarchs lean into the oppressive powers that be and they get benefits from it, of course they're going to be evil. But when these other monarchs see the issues with it and they lean away from it, they get punished. That tends to be what we've seen throughout the story. And I do not believe they are full monarchs, really, if they don't have that
I might be
power.
wrong, but do you think Kobe is losing the innocent dream he had about changing the system by becoming an admiral if he's siding with the same system in stopping Luffy?
Oh yeah, no, he is. I said that ages ago. I've said that ages ago. The second he said, Luffy, I gotta stop you, I went, there he goes. There he goes. Which is why I keep saying I think there's going to be a moment where Kobe has to decide, is the world better off with Luffy in it or not? Because again, the side Kobe is on wants Luffy dead. They do. And Kobe will need to decide if that's good or not, if he should be doing that. Kuma is complicit? Complicit to what? What do you mean? What's he complicit to? I don't know what he's complicit to. I was gonna say Kuma's a victim. Hi Orc, thank you for the sub. No, he's not complicit. He was being blackmailed. They were going to kill his child if he didn't do that. That's not being complicit, that's being blackmailed. His child was sick and dying. And also being held hostage. He had literally no choice if he wanted to save her. The pacifista were also supposed to help people. Will I get back to streaming? Yeah, I will. But you cannot be complicit if you're in chains. You know what I mean? Like, if you're literally a victim, like he's a victim of the system. He's not complicit of it. If anyone was complicit, it was Vegapunk. Vegapunk was very complicit, and Dragon even questioned him on that. See, this is why, guys, oh, she's being rage baited. No, I just know people really do think shit like this. I know they do, because I've seen them. I've met them, guys. I've met them. Right? Open the schools. But, he didn't become the king of Sorbet Kingdom. They appointed him that. It was like Dalton and Drum Island. The people elected him. The people of Sorbet Kingdom elected Kuma because he saved them. I had a whole thing I was saying again about Garp before this that I'd forgotten because I'd been totally derailed. But I don't remember now. Was it Garp? Or was it Dragon? It was probably Garp, wasn't it? Something about Sengoku and Garp. Oh, the Marinefoot. I have not been in like a shonen space like this before, right? Which is why the way fans react to things is so alien to me sometimes. The way people react to different chapters is so alien to me because this is not my usual space. One Piece is just really special in that regard. And when I was first reading One Piece and first talking about Garp, I talked about Garp being pretty spineless in regards to helping his loved ones as, like, prioritizing the Marine badge and the Marine system over his loved ones and over people. I talked about that like that was pretty matter of fact, because in my opinion, it's pretty matter of fact. And I remember the reactions I got was just, I truly never faced shit like that before, of people really defending this guy to hell and back regarding him being a Marine, especially his choices in Marineford. I was gagged. I was just gagged. Yeah, and the Dadan scene as well, punching him and saying, go fuck yourself. So, seeing people like, because my first reaction when I saw Garp say to Sengoku, hold me down, was, what a spineless coward. What a spineless coward. He just can't shake the tree. Right? So, what does it truly mean if he's like, I won't follow orders from the Celestial Dragons, but he lets the head of the Marines just kill his grandson and he thinks, I can't do anything about that. Right? Like, does it really mean anything if he's like, I won't do anything about this, I won't listen to the Celestial Dragons, but he'll let the head of the Marines kill his grandson. You know? Even though he clearly didn't want that to happen, he lets it happen. So, I remember when I first watched that scene, I was like, he's spineless. He's just spineless. He just can't go against the hand that chains him, basically. It's not even the hand that feeds him, it chains him. And I was shocked when I found out people felt bad for him. I was really shocked when I found out people felt bad for him. Because I was like, but he could do something. He's just chained by his own ideas of being a Marine. That's what's chaining him. Nothing else. And I'm like, why are they, like, why feel bad for him? The most I'd feel bad for him is because he's been indoctrinated, I suppose. Is because he truly thinks the Marines are the future, but it's just, he keeps seeing all this shit and then he keeps believing it's the future. And it's like, I just don't know. I really don't know. We've talked about Ace before. You cannot use the argument that Ace was a criminal. Ace was born a criminal. He was literally, they wanted to kill him so bad that they took and killed a bunch of pregnant women. That's how much they wanted him dead. Ace even said to Garp, you know I couldn't join the Marines. They would have killed me anyways. And you know why I believe that? Because they wanted to kill him in the womb. They wanted to kill him before he was even born. Right? Of course they'd kill him if he were in the Marines. Because they truly believe Ace is the son of the devil. They wanted to wipe out Roger's bloodline. They didn't give a fuck what he was doing or who he was. They wanted to wipe out his bloodline. Of course they would have killed him in the Marines, right? So Ace is basically telling Garp, I wanted my freedom. I was a criminal anyways. And Garp is going, and it's like, well, I don't know how to tell you guys this. Garp was like, join the Navy, Garp was wrong. And the reason I always talk about that is because Garp only wanted to save Ace if Ace followed a set of guidelines for him to be able to save Ace without consequences. If Ace were a Marine, the only benefit Garp would have gotten is Garp could probably help Ace more if he were a Marine. However, Ace would have had to then be within a system that wants him dead all the fucking time. He would have had to follow orders and rules from people that wanted to wipe out his fucking bloodline. Right? Which is selfish on Garp's part. Garp is basically saying, give up yourself and your mental health so I can help you. And Ace found a family out there that actually wanted to save him no matter the conditions. Whitebeard. Ace literally went against Whitebeard, tried to kill Whitebeard, stab Whitebeard, blah, 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 blah. Whitebeard still took that boy in, still raised him, still loved him, and still went to save him. There were no conditions that needed to be met because he loved that boy. Garp's love was under conditions. Garp's ability to save Ace was under conditions. Why? Because he puts the Marines above others. The Marines come first for him. Again, this is the problem. Kobe's going to make the choice to save people. We'll see. We'll see. Should I have been born? I don't know. Become a cop. Oh, God. Anyway. Look, I love these chapters because these chapters truly get into it, right? They truly, truly get into it. I love talking about One Piece. I love it. Even if people disagree with me, that's fine. You can disagree with me. However, I will not be gaslit. I will not be gaslit into the Marines really being good. And into, no, they're just doing the best for everyone. And there's more bad pirates than bad Marines. I'm not going to be gaslit by that shit. You're not going to get me. That's propaganda. That is in-story propaganda. You're not going to make me think that. Never. Never. Into the power scaling. Kaido turned into a dragon and shot a beam. That was pretty cool. I liked that. What else happened? Galaxy Impact. Yeah, that was pretty good too. Roger did something. Pretty good. John did stuff too. That was pretty good. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say. I like when Kaido's a dragon. I'd like him to be a dragon more. Snot bombs, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of power scaling. This is just not... I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not a power scaler. I can appreciate a good dragon, is what I can tell you now. Dragons are pretty cool. Yeah, we're still on the rocks train. Of course we are. Toot toot. Is One Piece the only shonen you follow? I followed Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a shonen, I suppose. It is. Yes. I can't think of any other ones. Mu's world being incomplete. It sounds like Imu just wants to scrub things. Imu wants everyone to submit. So Imu will be scrubbing things and bits and pieces from the world until it's complete. It feels like Imu is just crafting what they want, basically. Maybe Shanks had observation haki. This is glorp shit. Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry. Listen. I truly wish I could share in your joy, the joy a lot of you guys have of seeing those big manga clash panels, because I get FOMO. I get FOMO when people jump. I'm just not seeing what everyone's seeing, or I'm not seeing what you guys are seeing. I wish I were, but at the same time, my jumping for joy moments is when Shanks says shit like, I wanted to sail with Buggy. That's my power scaling. Baby, that's my power scaling. So if to be fair, there are moments that are power wise that I do jump for joy for, such as Kuma and Egghead punching the shit out of Saturn. However, that's not because I'm seeing a big fat fucking fight move. That's because obviously that bitch had it coming. That's why. Or Luffy using his Haki infused chanclas on Doflamingo. I jumped. Or Luffy punching Doflamingo. I jumped. Not because that's a big move, but because that bitch had it coming. Right? I will be jumping for joy at those. Dramatically powerful. Yeah, I love the dramatically powerful moments. I do. You know? I enjoy those. Like, vindication. Exactly. I can still enjoy a bit of this and a bit of that, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But I can't have a big flashy move on its own. There's got to be a build up to it. Right? A big build up to it. The story swell, exactly. Rayleigh slams Sommers through a wall. That was pretty good. I cheered. I remember cheering at that. What else have I cheered at? I cheered when Gabon appeared in Elbaf and sliced Sommers off. Sommers is really getting his ass rocked by the wings, isn't he? Oh, no wonder when he saw Gabon, he went, fuck. No, not this guy. Oh god, he's already gotten his ass clapped by Rayleigh, and now he's gotten it clapped by Gabon a few years later. That makes sense. I didn't even think of it like that. He deserves it. He does. What else have I jumped at? That was like a fight. Luffy punching a celestial dragon. I cheered. I cheered at that. Boa staring down Blackbeard. That's one of my favorite panels in the entire series. When she just glares at him and says, "Do it, kill me." Oh my god. The aura. The aura was crazy. Sanji screaming for help, but that's not a power move. The Robin slap, I did jump. That was good. These are probably my biggest power scaling moments. Gear 5 Luffy, that's my favorite Luffy moment ever when it first awakened. Gear 5 Luffy, I jumped. Zoro unlocking his cock against King, I jumped. And Sanji Ifrit Junbei, I jumped. I did jump. Those are probably my biggest power scaling adjacent moments. Alright? I can befriend the power scalers in those moments, right? I can truly befriend them because I got that one. I definitely got those three. But of course, I am jumping at those moments for other reasons than they are. But I'm still jumping at those moments. Devil form Robin. I jumped. I went yuppie. Gear third Lucci punch. I don't remember jumping at that. My most heinous take that people like clutch their pearls at is when the fights started happening in Water 7, I kind of zoned out a little bit. Because we got the emotional swell of Robin saying, I want to live, and then we got into the fights, and I was like, okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I was like, I don't give a fuck about Jabra. He was funny, but I didn't give a fuck about him, you know? I will forever say that I think the fights in Onigashima were so much better because they were so much more emotionally powered. So much more narratively powered than Oda has done before. The giraffe was fun. I enjoyed Kaku's shenanigans. Kaku and Zoro's fight was probably my favorite fight. I remember that one the most because of the shit Kaku was doing. I definitely remember that one the most. Kaku was a highlight, honestly. He was probably the only motherfucker. Oh, and Nami and Khalifa, but that's because I'm gay, so that doesn't count. But Kaku was fantastic. He was truly, truly the highlight. Usopp versus Prona was fucking fantastic, and that's because that was just who can be more annoying in like a good way. That was so fun. Usopp knocking out Sugar. I jumped, but I laughed heartily. Heartily, I laughed at that. Gear 5 Bonnie. I jumped. I did jump. Actually, I thought Power Scalers didn't like Gear 5 Bonnie. I thought that really upset them. I loved it. I thought they hated it. Am I wrong? It did? Well, there you go. See, I can't relate with them there. She's not just a woman, she's a little girl. How dare a little girl have peak of power, you know? Oh, that belongs to men. Luffy and Katakuri. Okay, you got me. You got me. Probably the thing that will make me shake hands with Power Scalers the most is Luffy and Katakuri. That is definitely one of the best fights in all of One Piece. All of One Piece. It's undisputed, right? I think that's totally undisputed. I think majority of people into One Piece will say that the Luffy Katakuri fight is like top 3, you know? I think you're insane if you don't think that's a top 3. I can't give you a 1, 2, 3, but I can definitely say that's a top 3. Because my other top 3s would not be anything like that, you know what I mean? Like, I personally put Sanji and Queen as a top 3, and people would think I'm fucking crazy for that, so... Leave, you know, I can't shake hands. I can't shake hands on that. But Katakuri and Luffy is just so fucking good. So good. You're insane if you didn't like it. You're just insane. I think it had something for everyone. See, I don't even rank the fights. Enel and Luffy's pretty good. I liked his octopus form. Does that mean anything to anyone? His like brain dead octopus form, quite enjoyed that. Yeah, but my fight ranks are my fight ranks are not the same. What else is there? I'm trying to think of fights I really enjoyed. Law and Doflamingo, but see, this is what I'm saying. Not because it was like an impressive fight, but because emotionally and narratively, that was a awesome fight. Because Doflamingo was so heinous towards Law. Just so evil towards him. I fucked with that heavy. And it's not for big boy reasons. It's for Doffy's so fucking manipulative and evil. I love this fight. I really liked it. Emotional damage. It was just great. It was fantastic. Groggy Ball. Oh, fuck. Zoro and Sanji Groggy Ball. That's in my top 3. You guys, I cannot have this discussion with like actual power scalers because they'd kill me. They'd take me the fuck out. They would actually take me out. Can you imagine I enter a room and I say top 3 Zoro and Sanji Groggy Ball in Long Ring Long Land? I think they'd jump me. Like, they'd fucking jump me. Because who says that shit, you know? It was peak to me. Balls. Easiest way to get shanked. But it was good. They'd laugh and they'd realize I'm not joking. They would think... So you know how people come into my stream and they say stuff to me about the story and you guys are like, that's gotta be rage baiting. But it's probably not rage baiting. It's just genuinely people not looking as deep into the story as they could. That's what would happen if I entered a power scaling stream and I said, top 3... Zoro and Sanji Long Ring Long Land. People would be like, is she rage baiting? I mean it genuinely. Genuinely. Because I can tell you this, while narratively I'm very good at analyzing stories, character-wise, I don't know what makes a good fight. Right? That's not something I'm good at. It's a talent and a skill in itself. I can tell you why narratively a fight works and why narratively a fight has made me jump out of my seat, but I cannot tell you within the fight itself what can make a good fight. It's a skill. It's truly a skill within itself. And I know that a lot of people that watch things for the fights, they see that as an art. I do believe it's an art. I'm just not good at it because I'm not paying attention to it. Foxy versus Luffy is your top 1, my man. Thank you for the donation, my man Jonah. Fuck yeah. That's awesome. I'm a drama scaler. It's so true. What did someone call me before? What did they say? God, I was talking about like God Valley with the slaves and the genocide and the Marines. And someone said like moral scaling or something. And I was like, moral scaling? like they well, it was something moral pandering, narrative slop. It was something. I don't think it was narrative slop. I think that was something else. But they say it was moral slop. I think they said moral slop. And I was like, what? I was like, moral slop? Hello? It had to be a bot, surely. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe that, you know? I don't want to believe that there are people out there that think looking into the morals and narrative morals of a story, the ethics, the narrative ethics of a story is like just slop agenda. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to believe because that's all literature. I don't want to believe it. However, someone God, I don't know if someone asked this, but a lot of book talk now is apparently reading One Piece. And the reason a lot of book talk is now reading One Piece is because of shit like the Jolly Roger being used in real world protests, such as like in Nepal, right? So Nepal has used the Jolly Roger when they basically started their revolution. Like, I'll call it their revolution. They used and in Indonesia as well. Indonesia has the Straw Hat Jolly Roger band as a symbol because of what it represents and stands for regarding pushing back against government and against unfair government, you know. And France as well has used the Jolly Roger before. However, even though this has been happening for a few years, Nepal has really brought it to light because it was very, like, everywhere, basically. So now, Book Talk is getting on One Piece. And the reason Book Talk is getting on One Piece is because of this. It's because people are seeing a symbol from this literature as being used in the real world to mean something. So people want to read it to understand where this is coming from. And I can tell you now, there's, I think, going to be quite a wave of analysis being done, literature analysis being done for One Piece. And I think it's going to throw a lot of people off. Throwing a lot of people off because One Piece has for the longest time existed within the shonen vacuum is what I call it. And for those who don't know, when I talk about this, basically when anime is being brought to the West, when anime was first brought to the West, it was seen as a man hobby, right? Because it's like weird and for nerds and only men can be nerds, basically. So it was seen as a man hobby. So shit like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Hunter x Hunter, all the classics, that was all seen as things for boys, right? Anime was things for boys because the only anime real people really knew were the sci-fi soap, space opera animes and shonens, right? But there was also Sailor Moon, but Sailor Moon was put in the girly category, right? Shoujo. Even though Sailor Moon is probably more of a shonen, because I'm not much into Sailor Moon, and it's because Sailor Moon functions more like a shonen, in my opinion. But hey, maybe that's just me. But so what happened is the biggest, most popular animes and mangas ended up being shonen. Boys decided that's for us because, you know, shonen means for boys. However, within Japan, shonen stopped just being for boys. For the longest time, it stopped just being for boys. Which is why I always talk about it's insane going to Japan and going to One Piece events, and it's just so diverse. The audience is so diverse. It's full of families, right? It's full of peoples of all genders and all ages to such a crazy extent, right? It's so diverse that when they market One Piece in Japan, especially in Universal Japan, it's marketed towards families. And really, as well, there's like things they market towards women, such as Sanji's Cafe. Sanji's Cafe in Universal Studios Japan is for women. It is undeniably targeted towards women and families. Like, it's crazy to say it isn't. They even advertise it with Sanji serving a MILF. Like, I don't have the photo up right now, but the advertisement, the photo of the advertisement is there's a MILF at the table. Sanji's being served. Sanji's serving the MILF, and the beautiful mother is like love hearts in her eyes looking at Sanji. It's for women, right? And then they also have things like One Piece on Ice, and I went to go see that. One Piece on Ice was for all ages, for all fans, for all audiences, but specifically it was full of 40 to 50 to 60-year-old women. I'd never felt so comfortable and so safe in a space as I had in the One Piece on Ice space, because there were so many elderly women there, or middle-aged women there, that were just huge One Piece fans, like tons of them. It was like their interest combined with their other interest, right? Which was figure skating and One Piece, you know? And I'll never forget here when I went to go eat at a restaurant around the performance venue afterwards, and there was a group of like 5 middle-aged ladies that looked to be about 50 to 60 discussing it and talking about how much they loved Usopp and how much they loved Nami and how much they loved Luffy. And I was like, oh. Like, I've never felt that warm in my life, guys. I can tell you. I love seeing middle-aged women loving things. You know what I mean? Usopp glazers, yeah. One of them was a crazy fucking Usopp fan. One of them, who I believe was like 50, had Zoro's rings in her ear. And I was like, oh my God. Like, these, my people, you know what I mean? So, what I was basically saying is, there's been a real wall with One Piece in the West. And the reason there's been a real wall with One Piece in the West is because it's been seen and depicted and pushed as this is for boys. And while women a lot of the time will go into a space for boys and for men, right? They are very wary of it. Incredibly wary of it, because we know we will probably be treated pretty poorly in those spaces. And we are. Right, we get treated pretty poorly. We get a lot of bad names called. We get a lot of guys saying we're faking it. We're just faking it for attention. We don't actually like this thing, right? I remember when I was into anime, when I was like a young teen, I was like 12, and I remember having boys saying, "Oh, you just like it because we like it," and I was like, oh, no. How do I tell them I like yaoi? You know what I mean? Like, it was a whole thing of, oh, you can't possibly like this thing because it's for boys. It has to be for the attention, you know? So, name 3 characters, name every arc, you know what I mean? You don't love Zoro as much as me, blah, 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 blah. All that kind of stuff. So, there's been a real wall put up with One Piece in the West because it's a very heavily male-dominated space, right? Very heavily, which is just so strange seeing the disconnect between One Piece in Japan and One Piece in the West, because even not just Japan, even in like France, right, and in like Indonesia, it's like everyone loves it. It's specifically like English speaking West, right? So Brazil as well fucking love One Piece. But what I'm saying is, because that wall was up, it took a very long time for because a lot of book talk is women, right? A lot of book talk is women. A lot of literature analyzing content tends to be women, and when it's not, it tends to be men who will not venture into the more like undesirable medias. One Piece was kind of seen as a stupid media. Do you guys know what I mean? One Piece was seen as stupid because it's for boys and it's got fights in it, so it was seen as stupid. Does the current young generation even watch or follow One Piece? Yes. Yes. One Piece would not be as big as it is if the younger generation didn't follow it. I've literally seen, I was at a convention, there was a little girl dressed as Doflamingo, and she saw me dressed as Doflamingo, and she was like, it was so cute. Anyway, what was I saying? So there's been a real wall put up, but now, because One Piece is now being pushed more into the public eye, and now that we are seeing One Piece's effects in the real world, right? Now, people are wanting to venturing into it. People are starting to want to read it. They are no longer scared of the wall that was put up, or if they are scared of it, they're willing to risk it, right? They're willing to risk it. At least this is also kind of my theory, but I also think it's pretty easy to tell that that's what's going on. So anyway, for the longest time, when I would talk about One Piece like this in a narrative way and in a more respective literature way, right? You'd get tons of people, I'd get tons of people saying you're looking too deep, you're doing too much, blah, 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 because not many people have really talked about it like this before. I believe Murphy was one of the first, actually, and shout out to Murphy. But now it's happening more, right? Now it's happening a lot more. And now I think it's going to happen even more. And I really do think there's about to be a flood of people analyzing One Piece in a narrative sense, in a thematic sense, with an actual respect for the literature of like the writing itself. And I think it's going to be shocking to some people, especially some longtime fans who have been into One Piece since they were teenagers and have been in the One Piece space since they were teenagers, because I think this is something that they've probably never seen before, right? And I think it's gonna just shock a lot of people, because book talk's big, you know? And not only is book talk big, One Piece is big. I think this is finally the shift that One Piece deserves, you know? I really do think it is. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see it myself. Because I have been waving this flag for about, 3 to 4 years now, trying to get people more into One Piece in a literature sense. Murphy is one of the OGs to do it, right? I still will say I think Murphy does it better than me personally, but Murphy's one of the OGs to do it, and now we've got Jork Show and Mama Jork as well, and they're just fantastic, right? So it's like, it's starting. The change is here. The change is happening. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of fantastic videos now from new creators, or even from old creators that have just never read One Piece before, talking about One Piece in a thematic and narrative sense. I'm not sure. No Ponies? Is that how I say your name? Nope. I'm not sure, because I don't really use TikTok myself either. But I'm excited for it. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting to bring up. Especially now, with what's happening in the story. Fuck, does this beg for people to look at this within a narrative sense, right? Within a thematic sense, it's begging for it. It's just begging for it. And I can tell it's begging for it because Oda's getting tired. I cannot get over the line of them saying to Dragon, stop thinking like an individual. Oh, I can't get over that one. He's fucking tired. Like, that's pretty in your face, if I've ever seen it. Pretty in your face. Or Sommer's saying to Shaki, fuck, it was, I hate a woman who knows her own worth. You're better when you're naive. That was fucking crazy. That was just crazy. And I'm like, oh, like, he's tired, man. Segregate them. Like, it's just... He's tired of being subtle because people aren't reading into it. So he's gotta be open about it. Segregate them was fucking crazy. Oh, how can I forget that one? That was an insane one. Oppression impact. Actually, something that did make me jump, a fight part that made me jump, but not for the reasons, is when Kobe used honesty impact. Because I was like, what a fucking loser. I like Kobe, but I was like, what a loser. Imagine naming your move that. Virgin impact, like... You couldn't call it, like, justice impact or something. Had to be honesty impact. Fuck, I'll never forget that one. Oh my god. That one I'll never forget. God, stop making fun of him. Missionary blast! No! Oh my god. Sorry, I'm gonna mess up my makeup. I gotta go somewhere today, guys. We've been streaming for a while. Sorry, I love talking about One Piece. Okay. He's an honest guy. Nerd punch. I don't know. Oh, he says it in Japanese too, does he? Does he say honesty impact? I support Kobe. Sometimes. Lights off impact. Wait, what do you do when you sustain? Oh, fuck. I had a funny joke, but I don't remember the word for it. Not soaking. No. No, that's soaking. Not maintain. When abstinence impact. There you go. That's what it felt like to me. Oh god, Kobe's funny. I really like him. Sorry, the soaking really got me. Celibate impact. Sober impact. It just sounds like that, doesn't it? That's why it cracked me up so bad. Oh, what a good boy. He's just such a good boy. A wrestling move. Soaking King shoot down that flag. We're doing too much now. Good guy. Alright, enough. Sorry, my microphone is dirty. I gotta clean this. Alright. Stop it, everyone! Stop it. Good boy Slam. Enough. People compare him to Deku. Actually, no, I've seen that and I agree with that. But here's the thing. I think Oda's writing Kobe a lot better than Deku was written. But we'll find out. We'll find out what Kobe's ends up being. Alright. I'm getting in my box. Gonna stop talking about this, okay? In my box. Alright. Thank you, everyone. This was a very fun stream. There was a lot to talk about, a lot of passion. As always, the reason I'm so passionate is because I love this series. I love it. I love this series. I love making you guys see what I see in the series. Blah, 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 blah. And I will make sure you guys will not fall for the propaganda as hard as I can. And thank you for the subs. Thank you for the donations. You were all very generous today. And I will probably see you guys tomorrow. I'll definitely be doing an editing stream tomorrow. Okay, everyone? Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.